So something I've learned recently is that everybody does not necessarily have inner dialogue, like, constantly going on. I was researching this recently, actually. Well, watching a fuck ton of YouTube videos on people that talk as if they're qualified, so... you know, the basic research everyone does nowadays. That some people can't even really talk in their head. That their just base way of thinking has to do with pictures and just instantly understanding concepts. When you read a sentence, do you read it in your head? Like, does somebody say it to you in your head? Because then if you do, then you have an inner dialogue. And most people have a form of an inner dialogue. It's just, there's something that happens when you're a kid that will make that be your main source of thinking. So some people just don't even know what they're gonna say until they vocalize it. And it takes a lot of effort for them to sit there and visually think words in their head. Like what I'm doing right now is I say what I want to say before I say it, so then I know that's the way I want to say it, even though that was a poorly constructed sentence. Like I practice just speaking off the top of my head without even thinking about it. I mean, I think it's a good skill to have. These people that just don't even think about what they're going to say before they say it, that's why there's so many people in the world that take stuff at just face value, because the way their brains develop, they don't have that middleman to sort through shit for them, I guess. They all do it themselves automatically, which, to be fair, is more efficient. Like, that's why the majority of humans are like that. It's more efficient to think that way, and honestly, you're probably smarter if you think that way. Well, you're probably a quick learner if you think that way. People that have an inner dialogue tend to be more slow with things, and they double think everything, more or less. I just thought it was crazy that, like, I heard that only 25% of people have an inner dialogue, but I think that's 25% of people that have a constant inner dialogue, which, I mean, I think I do. I mean, I talk to myself more than I probably should, but I'm sorry if I'm doing a poor job at explaining this. Search out the science of the inner dialogue if you want to, educate yourself. It's hard for me to grasp the way the other people think, because I imagine they think with concepts, which I can do, but when you tell me to think of an apple or something, this is like a big, this is a generic test they do. They say, close your eyes. I probably shouldn't do that driving. They say, close your eyes and think of an apple. If you're able to see the shape in a red apple and change the color, you have a very strong, whatever the fuck it's called, where you're just able to picture shit in your head. The way I'm understanding it is they just do that as if it's the same way as I just speak in my head. It's not like there are people that just straight up can't speak in their head. They do exist. But the majority of people, it depends on circumstances, right? So, I don't know. I just thought that was a very cool thing, and I was mind blown by it, because I'm like, wow, not everyone talks in their head. Not everyone goes through what they're going to say before they say it. Honestly, it's probably why I struggled with social anxiety and I was so shy when I was younger, and I struggled to speak. I've been trying to get better at it. I think I have. But in doing so, I'm now less in my head than I was, if that makes any sense. Before I was very in my head. I was just, thinking of everything at a million miles a minute. And now I'm more not that way, I guess. Although I am just speaking of bullshit, by the way. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just regurgitating information that I've brought into my head and kind of made sense of. I am honestly impressed by it every day. I try. I love just teaching myself about that shit, right? Hey, if you're in the comments right now and you do not have an inner dialogue, please comment. I would love to pick your brain. I would love to just ask you a few questions, you know? And I would like to see what the ratio is too, because they say 25%. I think it's the majority of people have this ability. It's just not very developed. I think it's just really developed 25% of people. Gonna give me a large dibble dibble. Large dibble dibble.
Hi there. How's it coming up for you?
Can I just get a large double double?
And that's everything for you today?
Yep.
217, that's all good for you.
Okay.
Hi, 217.
On debit.
There you go.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Yep, you too. She was kind of cute. And another thing with the inner dialogue. This is off track. This is pure conspiracy theory I'm spitting out right here. I'm not trying to belittle people that don't have an inner dialogue. But what about if they're the NPCs? The people that don't think twice about things, you know? It might be why the majority of the world is so divided, because people don't take a second to think about the other side, or they don't like hearing opposing opinions for some reason, even though I fucking love hearing opposing opinions, even if I think in my head that you're fucking like stupid for thinking that. I want to hear why you think that. And honestly, if it's a good enough point, you should have an argument that can convince me. And I'm open-minded enough to fucking try to wrap my head around it, you know? Like, I wonder if you could have the inner dialogue and just not have control of it. I guess that's why people say they hear bad voices, or they're just telling themselves they're a piece of shit. Mine's the opposite way, by the way. My inner voice is fucking, it's me, but it's like an authoritarian version of me. And not against other people. It's an authoritarian version against myself. Because it's telling me to constantly get up. It's telling me to constantly do shit. It does call me a bitch, but in a way that makes me want to actually start doing shit about it. It blows my mind that how many different ways of a functioning mind there are. It gave me understanding of why I think the way I think. And I think learning the way you think can help you think better. See, this is what we need. We need people asking, Mr. Squirrel. We need people asking questions. We need people finding out, because like, nothing is so stagnant. Everything, we don't understand jack shit, bro. Alright, thanks for listening. Love you.